Happy Monday morning. If you logged in early this morning, you might have known that Canvas is having a little bit of a rough start to the week. Everything's working, but it's working really slow and it was timing out a lot. It looks like it got a little better, so here's to hoping. Um, I posted a new module today. This is module 3 on thermal energy. A lot of people have been giving me coming to me with questions, but they're very not very specific. They're like, I don't know what to do, or it doesn't work. So today I want to walk you through the module and how the module works and make sure that you know how to do these because I'm trying to make them as straightforward as possible, but also give you guys some choices, and that can make some things a little complicated. So what we'll do is we'll look at like the brand new module. Now, if you need to go back and do some of these, like the person I'm looking at hasn't done any of them. So each module is built kind of the same way. It starts off with resources. There's a 10-question checkup and then an activity. Each of those parts is important. For this module, you should spend probably about 60 to 90 minutes on it, maybe a little bit more. That's about an hour to an hour and a half. I gave you guys some flexibility. So instead of saying you have to go watch this video, you have to read this article, what I did was I gave you a bunch of different resources. Every resource page is shaped the same way. Read the big idea, pick some different resources to look at from the list. So here's your big ideas, and here's your list of resources. Now, some people said that this didn't load very well on their screen. So I also gave you guys a direct link to it right up here, which would open it up in another web page, but you should still be able to see these materials. Now, how many resources did I say? I said 8 to 10 different resources. There's 18 resources on here. I did more than what you need because one, you might not want to watch everything. You may want to watch everything. You can watch them all. Go for it. Two, something might not work. So instead of having to freak out and say, oh, I can't do this because number 7 doesn't work, just go to a different number. Number 7 doesn't work? Wah, wah. Go to number 8. This also gives you a couple different choices on what kind of stuff to do. There's a lot of videos. Some of them are just informative. Some of them take another step. Some of them show experiments. So even though it's a video, they all kind of show things in a different way. There's some Newsela articles. Now, they may ask you to sign in to Newsela. Some people have noticed that it works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Give it a shot. And then some of them are, this one doesn't have as many of them. Some of them are simulations, like a website that would take you to a simulation. For instance, I think this one was. But if they ever ask you to sign in, you can always sign in with your school Google account. If there are any problems, go to another resource. Once you've seen your at least 8, then you go to the checkup. That's the next part. It says it's a quiz. That just means it's questions that you answer. So it's not like a classroom quiz. What you can do is you can go through and, oh, snap, I look at this one and I'm not sure what it means. So I'm going to go back to my notes or a video, or I'm going to look something up. Whatever helps you answer these questions, get them right. So like if you forgot what this thing is and you have to go back, look it up. When you are finished with the checkup, yeah, I'm not done with it yet. When you're finished with the checkup, there is an activity. Now, I've seen some of you guys doing some of the activity things, and I love some of the things I've seen. Some of them, I want you to understand what is going on. You have a bunch of choices. What you do is you pick one activity that you're going to do. So there's four different choices. Either you can, if you're like a social person and like to talk to people, you can do a like a teaching moment where you teach someone something from this big idea list. Now, this is all about thermal energy, so you take one of the big ideas from this section, and if you forgot them, you can always go back to the resources and look at the big ideas there. Oh, Canvas is a little slow. So if you don't remember what the big ideas are, go back to your resources page. Big ideas. Boom. All right. So you pick a big idea and you teach someone else about it. You might show them things, you might do stuff with them, you might draw diagrams. This isn't all just talking. This is a real teaching moment. Um, Make note of what they don't understand. Sometimes they have trouble understanding things, and you may have to find a different way to understand it. This should not be like, I walked over to my mom and I told her about heat. This should be like at least 15 minutes of maybe show some resources and explain some resources. The next one is more for people who like to browse online and don't really want to do as much talking with other people, or maybe don't have the opportunity to. This one says, take one of the resources from this module. Okay, well, the resources are all right here. So I'm going to find one of these resources. And what am I going to do with it? What big idea was it supposed to teach? So maybe I look at this video right here and I go back and I try to figure out which of these big ideas is it teaching me? It might be teaching me more than one. All right. Sorry, there we go. What could make it better? Okay, every resource, there's not a perfect resource. Maybe it could be made better by explaining something slower. Maybe showing an animation or a picture would have helped. Maybe it wasn't very interesting, and you have an idea of what would make it more interesting. Your last task, you have to find a new resource that does a better job. So if you watched a video that had an experiment, you're like, this experiment was okay, but I found this video and it showed it a lot better. That's what this one is doing. So that's your second option. Your third option is for my artistic, my visual people, create some kind of piece of art using one of the big ideas from the unit. Again, the big ideas. And it should be beautiful and informative. Like maybe a diagram or maybe some sort of infographic, like whatever, as long as it shows one of the big ideas and it looks real nice. Or finally, if you can, find an experiment or create an experiment or do one of the ones that you saw in a video. Do an experiment that shows one of the big ideas from the unit and include family if you have. I know a lot of people have younger brothers and sisters or might be in charge of someone. This might be a fun time to find a small experiment that you can do with them. Um, be safe. Be safe with it. All right. After you did your thing, how do I know that you did one of these things? You can show me in two different ways. After you do your activity, you can either write a paragraph about it, 3 to 5 sentences. And yes, 3 to 5 sentences. If you're giving me garbage sentences and you can do better, I'm taking points off. And some people aren't even getting any credit for things because they could do better than that. So you can either do that or you can post a Flipgrid video. It's your choice how you do it. Um, if you don't feel like writing, you don't have to. You can do the Flipgrid video. When you submit the assignment up here, make sure that in your submission, either in your paragraph or in your video, you answered all four of these questions. Which activity did you pick? I picked the art one. How did you do it? Um, I looked up, blah, 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 blah. This should not be a one, two, three, four. Like, you give me some good sentences. When it says, how did you do it? I drew a picture. Girl, come on. You can do better than that. Um, I decided to use colored pencils because I liked the way they looked and I wasn't sure what to draw. So I went to Google and I looked up a picture uh, of atoms in a solid and I decided to do it this way instead. What big idea were we talking about? And was it easy or was it difficult and why? If you are giving me a good submission, you're going to talk about all four of these and you're going to get into some detail. If you just answered those four questions, I picked the art one. I did it with pencils. It talked about heat. It was easy. I might not give you full credit for that because you can do better. In the Flipgrid video, this is important. Some people forgot to put the website URL and they did a great Flipgrid, but they forgot to copy the link. Instead of going and doing one again, I've made a decision. If you forgot to copy the link and you don't know what to put and you're like, oh snap, I did the Flipgrid, but I can't copy and paste the link because I forgot. Worst case scenario. I would rather have the link, but if you have to, if you just say check Flipgrid and you submit that, I will go to Flipgrid and I will see it. I'll be able to see it. So that is a possibility too. So, y'all, just to sum up things, this is very important. Number one, these modules are going into the gradebook. Even though it says this assignment doesn't count towards the final grade, where did that come from? Yeah, that's a lie. It's going to. I'm going to give you guys some time to do it. Are we going to cover new material? Yes, but we're going to try to get some of our online learning review done first. If there are any questions, please, please, please make sure you go back and you, I don't know what this little thing is. Please make sure you go back and you watch some of the older check-in videos because they explain all of this stuff too. If you haven't been watching them every day, you need to. I will be posting this and sending this out in a few minutes, and then it's 11:43. I am like way overdue for my personal break time. Yeah, stick with your schedule, guys. I had to go over my scheduled time because Canvas was a bit fussy today, but I'm about to go probably play with my cat and then read a little bit of a book before I do lunch. Because you need to take care of yourselves as well, not just schoolwork. Find a good balance. I will talk to you guys later. If you have any questions, please let me know.